Okay, AP Calculus AB, TI Nspire CAS. How to use your CAS to answer specific questions about a function. This is going to be really, really helpful because a lot of the test is actually simple algebra. So let's go to our calculator here. And the function that we're going to use, if you don't mind, we're going to use 2x squared minus x minus 1. So, Bill, this is what I want you to do. First thing I want to do is save this function. So to save the function, we just type in the function. We hit Control, Store. We're going to name the function. You have to be careful when you name it that you name it something of something so you can put in values. And it doesn't matter what you want to use. So, Jason, we can use j of, can I use j? We use j of x. What is important is that this variable inside here has to match the variable that you're using. So if this was in terms of t, like you're using some kind of position function or whatever, j of t, or change the whole thing to x's, but they have to match. And if they don't, your calculator won't tell you they don't match. It will just keep giving you an answer of 0. So you'll think you're getting a good answer. So here, hit enter. It's pretty anticlimactic because it just says done. The first question might be is the point -1, 2? Is the point -1, 2 on this function? How would you figure that out? Yeah, I would take j of -1. So take j of -1 and see if it comes back as 2. And in fact, it does. So if you're asked that question, yes. You could actually see questions that simple on the AP exam. Don't count on a bunch of them, but there's going to be a couple freebies, and you got to know how to grab them. What if x is -2? What's the value of f of x? Sorry, j of x in this case. So if x is -2, what is the value of j of x? So what are we looking for? J of -2. You just have to know what question to ask your calculator. J of -2. Hit enter. So j of -2 is equal to 9. So far, so this is not supposed to be, honestly, the most difficult thing, but you have to be able to get this. What is the, how about this? If f of x is equal to number, if j of x is equal to 1, so if j of x is equal to 1, then what's x? So what function do you use now? You use your solve function. So type in the word solve. Check this out. When I type in this word, Billy, see how it's all in italics? When I put the E in, the calculator recognizes this as a command, so it puts it in standard print, and it's how you're supposed to recognize that. So what I want to know, what the question was, is what is the value of x? So solve j of x equals -1. This is crucial, right? This is where everybody screws this up. See, the equal sign is right here, isn't it? To -1. See this key right here? This comma is the in terms of key. So I want to know solve j of x is equal to -1 in terms of x. So what x value makes that true? And hit enter, and it gives you your two possible answers. Pretty good? Check this out, please. The last question is, and this is going to be crucial on the exam, you're really going to be able to use this, is you can ask the domain question. You have to be able to read it. So I'm going to ask for the domain. So I'm going to ask, what is the domain of my function? So what is the domain? And as I type it again, I'm looking for the keys to go to standard print. Domain, check me out here, of j of x, stay with me, in terms of x, right? Because we don't always use the variable x. So I want to know what's the domain of j of x in terms of x. What is the domain of this function? Yeah, it's polynomial, so it should be all values. And it says that clearly, doesn't it? That's actually really, really good. Because in calculus, a lot of times you're going to see something if this, and you're going to have to realize, or you may be asked the domain of something. And if you have a calculator, just ask your calculator for the domain of that function. Okay? Last question is, what are the x-intercept, or what is the x-intercept? How would you solve that? Solve what? Right. Solve. Good job, Ken. Solve j of x is equal to 0. What's important to remember? In terms of x, and all the smart people are writing that down. And I'm not saying you couldn't do this also, that you couldn't do this by hand. I'm saying it's a hell of a lot faster to do it with your calculator, right? Because that's one thing on the AP exam that you're going to want to do is create ways, Danny, that you can give yourself more time. All right? All good?
My calculator will not do domain.
Good. I'm glad you said it before we stopped the video. If your calculator won't do domain, please make sure your operating system is 3.2 or greater. And if it's not, update it. And if you don't know how to update it, make a comment on my page, and I'll help you. Or if you're sitting here with me right now, ask Ken, and Ken will do it for you. All right, thanks.